So today's video is a continuation of a series I started a few days ago where we go over very basic things about the game for both new and returning players. And two of the most commonly asked questions I get at the channel are the following. First of all, what build should I use when I'm starting out? And secondly, what is the best build in the game? Therefore, today, my friends, we're going to take a few minutes and go over a few basic things that you definitely want to think of anytime you're putting a build together. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and once again, to be clear, this is a video truly designed for new and returning players jumping back in and wondering a few basic things. And we're going to start off with the topic of what build should you use when you're playing this game. And always remember, the answer to that question is completely and totally subjective because that is dependent on your style of gameplay. And what does that mean? Well, it means, do you enjoy running around just lighting stuff up? Or do you prefer a mid-range build? You know, something where you're jumping from cover to cover, taking out NPCs that way? Do you want a sniper build? So my first recommendation is to find a playstyle that you enjoy using. Remember, that should be the core at everything you do in this game, is the enjoyment of actually playing, and start off with that. Now, there are so many different things and this game can get so overwhelming so quickly. So in my opinion, when you initially start designing a build for yourself, really focus on the gameplay aspect that you enjoy the most, because that will really help you not have that feeling of what the am I supposed to do next? So now that you've landed on a gameplay style, there are two things you want to focus on. First of all, you want to make sure you design a build around your gameplay. And secondly, you also need to make sure that your gameplay is designed around a build. Now, what the hell do those two things mean? Well, first of all, when you're creating, let's say for instance, a run and gun style build, you want to make sure the talents on your weapon, talents on your chest, backpack, whatever it is, complement the way you intend to play this game. So to give you a quick example, if you're doing a run and gun build, you don't want a talent on your chest or bag that maybe requires you to jump into cover, because chances are you're going to be moving non-stop, so you won't jump into cover that often. And on the flip side of that coin, for those of you that like to play a little further back from NPCs, you want to make sure you design a build that complements that style of gameplay. So again, my fellow agents, when you're putting a build together, learn your talents, take your time, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. Which now brings us to the topic of making sure that your build is maximized, which means you have to play the game a certain way with a certain type of build. Now, one thing I strongly recommend, and this is for those of you, let's say you've been doing a sniper build and you're like, you know what, I want to try run and gun. I want to get into something that I haven't tried before, because we all know that in this game, when you try a new build design, it really changes how the game feels and plays. So what I recommend is this: go to a mission control point, anything in the game that you're familiar with, so you can truly get a feel for how the build responds. And the reason you want to do that is when you're familiar with an area, you know the timing of the NPC, all of that stuff. Because if you cannot clear a mission or control point that you know the timing of the NPC, there's a strong chance that if you happen to find yourself in a situation in this game that you're not ready for, and you know what I'm talking about, let's say you're clearing a control point and then a resource convoy shows up followed by an elite patrol, and then two rogue agents just want to join the party as well, there's a strong chance that you're going to get lit up pretty quick. But if you know how the build responds when you're playing, you will truly start to get a feel for what you need to do when you're in a certain situation. I mean, you'll see in this gameplay, there are a few moments where I'm down to 0 armor whatsoever, but I know exactly how that quote-unquote feels with my character. I know that's when I pop the shield and I'm totally good to go. So again, take that time, really learn the build, because I promise you, my fellow agents, when you take the time to do that in this game and truly learn something, it is going to help you become so much more efficient when you're playing. And obviously that is the goal, whether we're talking about farming XP, loot, or clearing things as quickly as possible. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the topic of what is the best build. And once again, to be clear, that is completely and totally subjective. Now, for me, I happen to think the best build in the game is my Hunter's Fury Scorpio. I got Badger Tough on the chest with Intimidate. We're running with the Memento backpack. I mean, that is the best build. And I think anyone who doesn't use that is absolutely crazy. But again, like I said before, that has to do with how I enjoy playing this game, and how I play this game should have no impact on what you do whatsoever. So when you're looking at any build footage. And again, this is just my opinion. You want to make sure that you take a few things into account. First of all, remember that any build video you see is just a template. It's one of many different ways you can run with a build. So the most important thing, as you've heard me say multiple times, is to truly take your time and make a build your own. Get a nice balance between survivability and weapon damage, and it may take you time, but you will get to a place where you are really comfortable with running something new. Now, the other thing, and this is something I cannot stress enough to new and returning players, really pay attention to the actual footage that you're looking at when a build is being highlighted. Are you seeing someone just focus fire and NPCs coming out of a single door? Or are you seeing the gameplay footage in its entirety, which can include an agent losing their armor completely, getting completely wiped out, having to refresh, or just getting knocked down, reviving, whatever it is. And these are both great examples, and here's why. The first of which is going to show you the potential of a build when you get timing down and you know exactly how the NPCs are going to spawn, and it's just fish in a barrel. You can completely and totally light them up. And the second example is going to show you how you may need to respond if you're using a certain type of build, and both of these can be incredibly beneficial. So my friends, again, really take your time and pay attention to the footage. Now that brings me to the final topic, which is how do you find that balance between weapon damage and survivability? And my friends, it is all trial and error. Have different variations of a build, try all of them out, because that is the only way you can truly determine if a build is right for you or not, and if you're actually learning how the build properly works. And again, I will use myself as an example, where I know I like to be sitting between 1.1 and 1.3 million armor. That is a great place for my character to be, and that's something I enjoy. Now keep in mind as I say that, I see build videos out there where players have well under 1 million in armor, and they're melting everything left and right. You see the entirety of the gameplay footage, they're not going down once, they're just shredding the content. And one of the best things about this community, and you've heard me say this multiple times here at the channel, is you can go to so many different places out there. There are amazing build makers that can show you the gauntlet of everything you can create. And that is something you definitely want to take advantage of. Soak in every single thing you can. And remember, the best is completely and totally subjective. The most important thing is to learn a build, enjoy it. And as I said earlier, if you have any other questions, please let me know. Now, as I start to wrap this video up, and again, this is for new and returning players, as you become more and more comfortable with creating a build, you will discover the fact that there are better ways to run with a build than others. However, in my opinion, when you're first starting off, learn the basic aspects of a build, move forward from there. I sincerely hope this helps you out. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are currently having a giveaway here for an Xbox Series S. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced August 1st of this year. On that note, I want to thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.